How we doing there today? So a couple weeks ago, I did a video. I was getting a leak on my cab of my 2010 Ram pickup truck, and I replaced the vent exhausters, which goes from the cab to the bed and allows the cab to vent out. They were leaking. I tested them. The video I made, you could see where it's clearly leaking. Took a hose. But I still continued to get a leak. We got like 2 inches of rain, and again, I got water that pooled inside of the truck. Let me show you a little bit here. So when the water comes down, it fills both of these little cubby holes. I was getting a couple inches of water in there. Now I'm only they're just getting wet. So I came back and started doing a little more research, and I know that the third light up top is a problematic thing. And usually your bed liner will show signs of dampness or stains, and you can see mine's in perfect shape. So I did order a gasket for the third light, but I started looking a little harder, and I don't know if we're going to be able to tell with the camera, but right in this corner on the window, I'm getting water spots. So it's leaking right from the corner and then leaking down. This is just plastic, so it wouldn't stain. The same is true on the other side, right in the very, very corner. Let's see if that side will show this water spots any better. I don't know if that's coming out. It's even hard to see in person. But there's water spots that have stained on the glass. So let me show you what I'm finding outside. So when I started looking here, I noticed this little guy, these rubber seals here, that's loose obviously, but more so, if you can really get in here, and I'm going to take like a little toothpick, but you can see there's actually gaps there, and I think that's where my leak is coming from. And it's not so bad across the whole back, but then when you kind of get to this side, it's kind of the same way right there. So I'm gonna take a few minutes. I'm gonna get some simple green or some kind of cleaner and scrub those areas, and I'm gonna caulk those. So let me show you what we're using. So this is what I plan on using. It's a black adhesive sealant, silicone RBT Permatex. This isn't full, window installation silicone, but I believe this is going to do just exactly what I want it to do, weather resistant. And so I'm going to get that cleaned up, and I'll show you when I start installing this a little bit. I did also order the third brake light seal, which I'm sure I'll probably end up replacing. But for now, I just want to solve my issue, make sure I'm not leaking in the cab. Kind of don't fix it if it's not broken scenario. But I will, obviously, everything's drying out. This will probably be the next thing for me to go ahead and fix, just so that I'm good. But let me get some of that cleaned out, and I'll come back. Thank you. Okay, so what I've done here, I've just used some simple green, and I've come in here and I've scrubbed all this really good. Got a lot of debris out of there. I've also scrubbed underneath this a little bit. I'm going to get a nice bead of silicone around there. Did the same thing all along through here. Got this side, got up underneath here really well. And I'm just going to get this rinsed off. I'm trying not to get as much water in here as I can. I'm trying to keep it minimum as possible. But I'm going to get this all rinsed off and cleaned up, and then give it about an hour to dry and come back and do some siliconing. So we'll be back. All right, I just wanted to show this a little bit more. I got it all scrubbed up and it's a lot easier, a lot cleaner now. But I wanted to just show you, if I can see this. I mean, there's a decent sized gap in there, and I'm sure water's getting inside of that window from there. The same thing is true on this side, right in that little area there. And I think it's better, you can see it a little better on this side. But I'm going to let this dry out just a little bit more. I took some compressed air and blew it in there so it would dry a little quicker. But it's got the Florida sun on it now, so it won't take long to dry out, and we'll get some silicone in there. Alright, one thing I'll say, when you're using this, make sure you've got plenty of rags and paper towels around, because it does make a mess, so be prepared for it. But this is where we've got our RVT silicone in there, and I pulled some of this edging out just a little bit so I could shoot some in there behind it, and I got in there really well. Obviously I got some on that weather stripping there with some blue tape to hold it down, and I still got one more side to do. I'm gonna get it done and leave it for today, and then come back tomorrow and do a water test, and hopefully that takes care of my issue. So we'll follow back up tomorrow after this is all dried. Well, it's the next day, and the water test didn't go so well. So I did the areas that I caulked. Those areas look good, but believe it or not, I think I've still got another leak. So let me show you what I've got here. It's kind of bright. I have tested everything all the way around the entire back window, and I was still getting water, pretty decent amount, coming right from the edge of the center window, the sliding rear window. And what I found through a little research is there is some drains that run in this track that can get clogged after a period of time. There's a couple on each side. So I made a video of that as well, and I'll show you what I used to unclog those. So there's one right about here on this side of the window. This is the driver's side. And then the same thing on the passenger side. Right underneath this little clip, you got to pop that out. It's barely in there now. And that's just your cable that pulls the sliding rear window back and forth. So there was a couple little caulk joints outside on this weather seal, and I caulked those, and now you can see my blue tape. And I think at the end of the day, I'm gonna have to replace that seal because I'm staying dry. What little amount of water gets in there drains out. It comes out these weep holes that are here right in the middle, and then on that side there's 3 of them. And what I had to do, those little holes are so small that this is what I had to use. So I took some old WD-40 straws, inserted them into the end of my compressed air nozzle, and it felt like air was blowing in and blowing right back out. So I took a little piece of blue tape. So there's 2 holes, and I would stick this in one hole, blow through with the other so that it would push it out from the vehicle. And then I'd switch them around and clog the other one. They're very close together. You'll see in the video that's attached. But I still think that I've got a little bit of a leak. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that blue tape and see how it leaks now. Everything's super dry, no problems right now, but I think when I move that blue tape, things are going to change. So let me pull that off and we'll run some water and see what happens. So as expected, and I hadn't really gotten the leak here before. It's just, I think, where I was spraying it so hard with the hose. But you can see this is on the right in the center of the sliding window. Again, there's no issues overhead. Everything's nice and dry. But you can see the water that's leaked down a little bit, and then it's running down that track. And I'm sure that's kind of hard to tell there, but it runs right down this, and then that's where I was getting my leak. So it's better. I'll show you where I caulked a little bit more, but this is definitely wet inside of here now, and everything else had been tested other than the area that I had that blue tape. All right, so I've been saying that there's 2 drains on each side of the rear sliding window, and there are 2 at the end of the sliding window. And this is my little contraption that I made up. And like I said, the compressed air, that nozzle has been fitting perfectly over that red straw, WD-40 straw there. And this one just caps off the other, and I alternate, so I blow through both of them. I just did that. It's a little hard to do all that at one time, but I don't know if that'll show up or not. But there are two more tiny little drains back in there, and I assume there's 2 more on this side as well. So I'm going to look and check, and if there are drains in there, I'm going to double check that as well. These drains are almost impossible to see. I hope you can see them there, but there's just 2 little 1/4 inch, not even 1/8 inch holes. And I'm going to blow those out and clean those. I hope that's coming out. And again, that's right by the end of the window track at that end. So there's a total of 8 little holes, 2 at the very end, 2 on each side of the sliding rear window. Those actually look clear, but I'm going to blow them out anyway. In order to get in there to clear these drains, you're going to have to pop this cable out. So there's these little fasteners, and the cable just runs through that. You can see the shape of it, and then it just pops into place. Oops. And once the cable goes in, it just pops into place. So there's one there on the far passenger. There's one right at the slider. And then on this side, there's not one at the slider, but there's one on down toward the end there. And you can just see it kind of just pops in there. So I just wanted to show that because you got to pop those out in order to access those tiny little drain holes. They should be much larger, but again, there's one on each side, and that'll definitely help at least take some of the water out of here, because it's meant to get water down there. It just needs to drain. Okay, the one area that I did want to show you that I caulked yesterday was right in these corners. I had a pretty good gap there, and I think it was letting a little bit more water as the water runs down this seal. There was a gap there on each side, and I think it was really getting the water in there. This, I still think I'm going to have to do something with this, but as hard as I was just spraying it, I'm not surprised that a little bit of water got in around that seal. But I got to see where I can order this thing from and see how hard that is to change out, or what all that takes. But I think I've made a huge improvement. So I originally started up here with the caulking of these areas and getting this down. Definite improvement. I could see water on the inside of the window there. That's dry, no issues. Same on that corner. Like I say, I still have the seal for the third brake light, but I'm just not wanting to get too many more things involved with this leak till I think I've got it 100%. And I think I'm gonna have to see how to replace this and where to get this from. And again, it's a 2010. I'm in Florida, so it sits outside every day, and that isn't really, you know, too unexpected for rubber to get brittle and not seal as well. So this may conclude this video until I can see what it takes to fix that. And we'll see what we can do from there.